Community Mindfulness is a weekly 20-minute videocast of guided mindfulness practice. I'm the volunteer leader, Andrea Marion, yoga and mindfulness teacher since 2004. I live and work in Burlington, Vermont. So how does community mindfulness work? Well, you sit quietly and do very little, actually. Follow the suggestions that I give or practice what feels comfortable to you. A focus on the breathing or notice thoughts and let them go. In this non-doing, a natural receptive capacity for awareness and joy arises, however subtle or small. We start to notice that it feels good to be in the present, connected to what's happening. With practice, it's like blowing on a small flame. Mindfulness in everyday living gets stronger and stronger, and we are lucky to have this capacity that builds and supports safety, freedom, peacefulness, and well-being for ourselves and others. There's a sweetness, joy, and beauty in the moment. So let's begin. Welcome, everyone, to the community mindfulness practice of the lightness of awareness. So the lightness of awareness can help us when we have an idea, a belief, or a judgment, or a circumstance in our life that feels very heavy and very sure. And we can apply the lightness of awareness to it in order to arrive at the best possible action or outcome. So close your eyes if you choose, or cast them down. And then bring your attention to how your body is preparing for mindfulness. You may be seated or lying down. You may be on a chair or a sofa or a bed. But feel your physical body in its position to begin to practice mindfulness. And there's quite an orientation that your body can give you to begin practice. There's a relaxed attention there. And if you scan your body briefly and notice where you feel sensation, you probably feel very grounded in your seat. Your sit bones to the chair or sofa or earth. And that may be the first thing that you notice. And then I will then ask you to notice the spaciousness that is all around you, the lightness. There's air touching your cheeks, your hand. There is a lightness that is around you. And there is a lightness that is part of you, and the directional sign to that pathway of lightness is the breath. Even more than a directional sign, and an elevator or a escalator or a moving pathway, sort of like they have in the airport. You can just get on that, get on to awareness of your breath, and begin to feel a lightness. With the inhale, and the exhale. Just knowing that actually the most important thing that you're doing right now or at any moment is breathing. And breathing is a very light occupation. It happens automatically. It's soft and open. And by paying attention to the breathing, to the inhale and the exhale, you can access a certain lightness of being. Not to push away challenges or what's happening in the world or any aches and pains, perhaps in our own bodies, but just to coexist with such as that. That you can actually feel that lightness. And you still have the groundedness of being held to your seat. But as you pay attention and orient yourself in the direction of your breathing, you may get a little bit of relaxation or floating kind of feeling somewhere in your body, perhaps in the hands or the shoulders. Or in the relaxation of the facial muscles. Maybe you can even imagine yourself floating in the position that you're in right now. Just lightly here. No big deal. No rush. No place to go. Very much the quality of lightness, of awareness, or awareness of lightness. You may hear your breath coming in and out. You may feel your breath in your belly or your ribs or the tip of the nose. And in those sensations, you are tuning in to a lightness, a feather lightness. Stay with it. Keep your attention and intention on your breath. And even as your intention is there to do that, there is a lightness to that. And notice if there isn't a subtle sense of well-being or relief or aspect of pleasantness that arises when you tune into this lightness. And if there is, enjoy it. Very good. And now we'll turn to our thinking. We've been paying attention to the breath, and probably thinking has been happening anyway. Maybe you noticed it, maybe you didn't. But right now, turn your attention to any auditory thought or image that arises in your mind. And imagine each thought like a misty raindrop that gently falls to earth and is absorbed in the earth. As soon as you turn your attention to thought, it may disappear altogether, but chances are some thoughts will start to arise. And treat each one of them as a very light raindrop coming to earth and being absorbed and dissipating into the earth. You may get distracted by sounds in your environment, or physical feelings, or emotions. That's okay. The mind gets distracted. And you can gently bring yourself back to just noticing any arising thought and treat it like a light raindrop. Or if you like the image of a feather floating through the air. It has no weight. If thoughts are not arising, then you're in a state of rest, and you can allow yourself to just feel lightness and spaciousness around you, or focus on the breath. Everything I say is a suggestion, so if you have a practice that you'd like to continue with today, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, you're allowing any arising thought or image to be as light as a misty raindrop or a floating feather. If your attention wanders and goes off to this or that, bring it back to just noticing any arising thought, and allow there to be a lightness to that thought, a feather lightness or a misty lightness. Now, this is good to practice together today as we're sitting here or lying. And it can be brought to mind when there are thoughts pounding at us in what seems like a very urgent and important situation. And indeed, there may be urgency. But even then, we can adapt a lightness of awareness. That has a flavor of well-being to it. And then in that way, we are prepared, ready, and able to act in the best possible way for ourselves and others. Spend a few moments here, allowing thought to arise and be misty or feather light, or just feeling physically or emotional the lightness of awareness in the body and mind. One is very specific. Some of us like specific instructions. One is more general. Others of us like generalities. Neither is right or wrong. They're both good. As you enjoy the lightness of awareness, you may tune into your breath again. That may sort of happen automatically. But wherever you are, imagining misty light or feather lightness to each thought, or lightness to the body, or lightness, weightlessness to the breath. Know that you are concentrating. You're choosing where to put your awareness and what quality to give it. And that is a very useful and powerful skill to have for the benefit of ourselves and all others. If your thoughts take a U-turn somewhere and start going down some road, gently redirect, bring yourself back to the lightness of awareness. And then some of us like floating back on the cloud. This is a good day to do that. So I'll count backwards from 5 to 1, and you'll imagine yourself comfortably seated on a puffy white cloud in the sky at 5, floating along nicely now in body and mind on the cloud. 4, cloud bringing you closer to your home, hovering above the rooftop, perhaps. 3, coming right in, floating on your cloud to where you're seated. 2, and 1, gently stepping off the cloud and onto your seat for 1, and you can open your eyes and begin to move a little bit. And thank you for joining us for practice this week. And the practice and archives are available on CCTV. And if you are interested in making a comment, there should be a comment section about your experience. And you can also subscribe to Community Mindfulness Weekly Practice. And we look forward to seeing you again soon.